The Golden State Warriors are seriously gonna do it again. As you all know, the NBA season is just around the corner, and a lot of teams are wondering whether Golden State Warriors were going to sign Andre Iguodala for that 15th roster spot. I know I've done videos in the past saying who they should give that spot to, but it is final and it actually has been decided that Andre Iguodala is joining the Golden State Warriors for one more season. However, Andre Iguodala said in a recent interview telling Steph that this is going to be his last season together. So I think Andre Iguodala is having this as his, farewell tour. This is probably going to be the last season he plays with the Golden State Warriors. So in today's video, we're going to be going through 5 key reasons why I think Andre Iguodala is going to be vital to this last season and how he's going to help the Golden State Warriors win another NBA championship. Before we get into it, make sure you like this video, and don't forget, if you want more Golden State Warriors content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. Guys, 98% of you are still not subscribed, so I mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel. But let's get straight into the first reason, and the first reason being is that Andre Iguodala can provide a lot when it comes to veteran experience. Andre Iguodala is 38 years old, and he's had such a great career over the past couple of years. Not only is he an NBA Finals MVP, but he was an absolute star as well back in the Philadelphia days. At his peak when he was playing in Philly, he was actually averaging 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. So guys, he was the star of Philly, and I remember he was definitely one of my favorite players back then in the 76ers. He was so exciting to watch, super athletic and all of that. Then he won the Finals MVP with the Golden State Warriors when they won their championship. And I think honestly, when it comes to all of that, it really does show he is a great player, for any organization that he has played with. He's been with Golden State Warriors for so long, but he did take a 2-year hiatus to join Miami before coming back to Golden State. And I think what he's taught the younger players so far has honestly been fantastic. You've seen this time and time again, especially on ESPN, where you see Andre Iguodala, you see him kind of talking to Andrew Wiggins, you see him talking to Jordan Poole, even James Wiseman, and he's definitely teaching them a lot of things. I do have to be honest, although Andrew Wiggins is a great player and I think he developed into something special, I don't think he wouldn't have got there without Iguodala's, guidance throughout his whole time in the Golden State Warriors. I really do believe that Iguodala has taken Andrew Wiggins under his wing to teach him everything he knows to play that small forward position, because that's what Andre Iguodala played back, in the peak years of Golden State Warriors in 2015, 2016, 2017, all those great seasons. And Iguodala was running that small forward position, and he was doing the best he can, even if he was coming off the bench. So I definitely think he taught, these players, especially Andrew Wiggins, a lot of things, and I think he can continue to do that, especially being that 15th roster spot. Now, don't get me wrong, he may not be getting a lot of minutes next season, but I think, his sort of impact to the team is really helping out the younger players to develop into something great. Reason number 2 is Andre Iguodala is a great defender. Now, like I mentioned before, Andre Iguodala isn't getting the same minutes that he used to. Back in the 2015-2016 era of Golden State Warriors, he was actually averaging 27 minutes. However, last season he only averaged 20 minutes, which is still a significant amount of game time that he is getting. So Andre Iguodala can still definitely provide a lot on the defensive end. I don't think you really need him there for offense. Last season he actually scored 4 points per game, and I think where you really see him shine is on the defensive end. He was actually averaging 3.2 rebounds and 3.7 assists, which is really good to see. And I do think when it comes to what he's provided for this team, especially for that second unit, it's definitely being the leader when it comes to, really adding that veteran experience to that second unit and providing defense. You already have enough scorers, especially with the new roster. You got Dante DiVincenzo, you got Jordan Poole, you got James Wiseman, you got all these different scorers for that second unit. The first unit with Steph, Klay, all that's already sorted. So you will really see more Iguodala playing with that second unit, playing that small forward position, maybe moving into power forward if they run the small ball lineup. You also have other players like JaMychal Green. So I feel like offense is not really going to be an important thing or something that the Warriors franchise actually expect out of him. They just want him to play great defense and honestly lead that second unit, which I think is going to be very important, especially for the future, as they are all very young players. Reason number 3 is Andre Iguodala's great playmaking. Now, I think his playmaking is so underrated because Andre Iguodala actually is a very good playmaker. Last season, he actually averaged 3.7 assists and was only averaging around 18 to 19 minutes per game, which is very, very good. If you put that in perspective, if we were to adjust his stats actually, to per 100 possessions, so if he was getting, normal minutes of around 30-35 minutes per game, he would actually be averaging 9.2 assists. So he would average almost a double-double with which is fantastic to see. And I do think, Andre Iguodala, for the little amount of minutes he gets, he definitely does a great job being very efficient in the playmaking department. And I definitely think that's what that second unit needs. When you look at the lineup, Jordan Poole, he's more of a scorer. Now, he can be a great point guard, do not get me wrong, but I think definitely his main focus and the focus that Steve Kerr would want from him is definitely scoring. You also have other players like Dante DiVincenzo, more of a scorer as well. Wiseman's a scorer, JaMychal Green scorer. So, all of them are mainly scorers, and that's why you got Andre Iguodala to provide that playmaking to be able to distribute. You always need a playmaker in the team, especially on the first five. I feel like for the starting five of, Steph, Klay, Wiggins, Draymond, and Kevon Looney, Draymond is definitely that playmaker, and I think for that second unit, Andre Iguodala can be that guy. So we may actually see him get a couple more minutes due to the fact that Gary Payton II is no longer there. Otto Porter's also left, JTA, list goes on. But when it comes to what he can provide for that second unit, I definitely think it's a lot when it comes to playmaking, when it comes to telling people where to be on plays, all of that. He can really use that to his advantage, and I think that'll play a huge part, especially if you're running a 10 deep roster. I think Golden State Warriors is definitely one of the teams that can actually run 10 deep in a sense that all the players are really dangerous no matter what the lineup is. And on top of that, when it comes to his playmaking, his efficiency has been there. When it comes to his assist percentage, it's actually very high at 24%, which is really good. So it's basically an estimate of the percentage of teammate field goals a player assisted while they were on the floor. So 24% is very, very high, guys. League average is usually around 11 to 12%. So, he's pretty much doubled that when it comes to the latest season. And I think he can definitely do that again. And you definitely see the progression when it comes to what he actually does for this team as time goes on. If we look back when he was with Golden State Warriors back in 2013 all the way up to 2019, by the time it was around 2018, he was definitely the main small forward before Harrison Barnes got there and all of that nature, but he was actually more of a scorer. So his usage rate when it came to points was much higher than his assist. His assist was only around 11%, which was roughly the league average. But as you see him get older and as you see him join again Golden State Warriors, you can see that his point usage actually drops down. However, his assist percentage goes up significantly, which pretty much doubles. So that definitely says a lot about how his game style or play style has definitely changed. He's not really needing to be that guy that scores 20, 30 points a game or anything like that, or, drop 10. His job out there is definitely to play make, to lead that second unit, and to do whatever it takes in order to win. Reason number 4 is Andre Iguodala's great IQ. Now, as you all know, Andre Iguodala has been in the league for almost 17 seasons, coming into his 18th season next year. So I think it is going to be interesting to see how he really does play, but I think his high IQ has definitely helped him be so effective even this late of his age. Like I said, he is 38 years old, coming on to 39, so he has been in the league for so long. Now, his minutes may be diminished, his games he's actually playing has definitely been diminished by a lot. However, you still see him really perform at a high efficiency. He's shooting very well from the 3, he's shooting very well from the 2-point, and to actually give you actual numbers on that, his 3-point percentage last year was pretty good at 29%. So obviously it's not the highest, but for Andre Iguodala, who wasn't really a shooter his whole career, 29% is really not that bad. It's definitely league average, where the league average is around 30%, but his 2-point percentages actually have gone up to 65%. So he's definitely shooting a lot more better when it comes to his inside game. Back when he was in the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors, that type of time period, his actual 2-point average or effective field goal percentage was around 52%. So it was still pretty high, but it's actually gotten higher. But like I said, guys, scoring is definitely not his main thing so far when it comes to this late in his career. But when it comes to high IQ, it definitely does show when it comes to his efficiency, whether that's scoring, whether that's rebounding, or whether that's playmaking. You can definitely see it throughout the stats. And even though he is averaging a lot more less minutes than he was back then, if you actually adjust his stats to per 36 minutes, you definitely see that he's still putting up really great numbers. So in 2015-2016, which was roughly the peak of Golden State Warriors, roughly, he was actually averaging, if we go per 36 minutes, he was actually averaging 9.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. However, if you go to last season, if his stats were actually adjusted, he would actually be averaging 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. So he'd actually be averaging more now if it was adjusted for it than he was back in his peak years of 2015 and 2016 with the Golden State Warriors. So it really does put it in perspective. Even though he isn't getting a lot of minutes, he definitely still is very effective, and the way I really do see that happening is definitely his high IQ. His experience playing 17 seasons in the NBA definitely does show, and he's still be able to keep up with some of the best and also keep up with some of the younger players. As you all know, unfortunately, it's really hard to say this, but 38 years old is not very young, especially in the NBA. A lot of players are definitely done by that age, so for him to continue to play at a very high level and still be getting 18, 19 minutes per game and put up those types of numbers is very, very impressive. And reason number 5, and one of my favorite reasons, is that Golden State Warriors are not paying him a lot to stay with the Golden State Warriors. So I think this is honestly fantastic. As you all know, Andre Iguodala has been a part of this team for so long. Now, there was a hiatus where he did go over to Miami, and obviously that did happen. However, when he came back, I honestly think he has done a fantastic job for this team, and he continues to do that as time goes on. He was such a vital player back in the day when it came to the Golden State Warriors championship runs with KD and all of that, and he was fine taking a back seat to when KD arrived, which I think was so important for the success of the team at the time. But now Andre Iguodala is back, and with his contract, it really isn't all a lot to really have a significant impact. So it hasn't actually came out with the actual numbers, but it is said to be less than $5 million. So they are getting him for very, very cheap. So we will probably get the finalization soon, but I think it's honestly fantastic to get a player of that caliber for so cheap. So let me know down in the comments what you think. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Peace.